Hey folks, Eric Ray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Wednesday, February the 28th. Sorry, we're a day late on this, guys. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold and really just didn't want to do much of anything yesterday. Thankfully, it's not the flu. It just seems to be a little bit of a head cold, but definitely feeling better today. Be better for the next few days. Got a few trips booked. Was on the water 4 days last week. A couple days down at Bull Shoals, a couple on Table Rock. Bite is improving. Got on the water after the water came up over the weekend, and the bite is improving. It's still not great, but we are catching some fish. Talking about the water coming up, we are at 916, almost 916.5, which puts us about a 1.5 feet above normal pool for this time of year. So the water did come up, oh gosh, what, about 7-8 feet? About 8.5 feet actually is how much the water came up with all this rain over the weekend, which is good news. It's certainly not going to hurt the bite any. It should make it better, especially once these fish acclimate to it. As far as our water temperature, we are in the upper 40s. We're at about, seen 48, 49, as low as 47. It really just kind of depends on where you are on the lake. I will tell you, we do have quite a bit of debris, especially up the rivers, point 12 and above on the James River. A lot of floaters out there. You get up above Cape Fair, nothing is really socked in up there because we've had enough current running. There's still enough water coming into the lake that you don't really run into any log jams, but you do want to pay attention. There is a lot of debris in the water up the James. In the Long Creek, it starts right about at Big Cedar Cove. There was a pretty good line of debris there the other day, and then it gets worse the further up. Of course, both James and Long Creek, the water is extremely dirty. It's muddy. It's not stained. It's actually muddy. Talked to a buddy of mine who was up around Shell Knob, and he said there is some debris in the water there around Shell Knob, pretty much to the bends there when you come around a Big Creek. He said it starts to break up when you get there, but there is quite a bit of debris in the water there. There's quite a bit of debris in the water in the Kings as well, and the Kings is quite muddy. The white below the Kings is pretty well stained, but it's not really muddy. But there is a lot of debris in the water, so if you guys are fishing like the Web Pro this weekend, Web Outdoors Pro this weekend, be careful. A lot of floaters out there, and as usual, we've got some pretty good sized logs floating around out there, so be careful if you're going up. But if you are coming down, whether you're going to fish the Web deal or you just want to go fishing for fun this weekend, if you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, like I said, there at Big Cedar, the water starts to get dirty. You get above the bridge, you get to the state line, and it's just chocolate milk. It's muddy. There's a lot of debris in the water, so most of the fishing's been happening from about Big Cedar down to around the dam and maybe around a 0.5. A couple of good bites have started. Catching some fish on a Kitech, on the Kitech 2.8. Sight Flash has been good. Sexy Shad has been good. Those have been our best two colors. Fishing them on a 1/4 ounce head. Basically looking for fish. Most of the fish we're catching are smallmouth, but we're looking for the fish to be on mixed rock and gravel points and banks. Been keeping the boat about 20 to 30 foot deep, casting more or less directly at the bank, letting the bait sink down about a 5 to a 10 count. Fish have been suspended, working it back slow, just slow reeling it, kind of like you would with a grub. Some of the fish are coming on the bottom where you do need to scrub either that or a Bass Pro XPS grub on the bottom, letting it tick the bottom as you're reeling it in, but keep it moving. We're getting a lot of bites doing that. A few fish coming on a Bass Pro tender tube as well out there, same sort of depth. The fish seem to be, they haven't made the move up yet. I think they will, once this water stabilizes, move up, get shallow, probably get into the bushes, but they really haven't done that yet. Most of them are hanging around that old bank line or a little bit deeper, so they're about 8 to about 15 foot deep. Catch them, like I said, on a tender tube, open hook, green pumpkin, puke. Those have been good colors. Working it slowly along the bottom, catching a few on a Ned rig as well. Same sort of deal, using a jewel Ned head. Matching that up with about half of a Bass Pro Sticko has been my best tactic doing that. And again, those fish are 8 to about 15 foot deep, gravel mixed with rock points. Most of them are smallmouth, but there have been a few Kentuckys mixed in as well. And then catching a few on the Jewel Squirrel head as well. matching that up with either a Zoom Speed Craw or a UV Beaver. And again, working that slowly along the bottom, 8 to about 15 to 20 feet deep. It seems like they're shallower if it's cloudy, obviously, but they're shallower early on sunny days, and they will back out on the sunny days, and you have to go out to about 20 to 25 foot deep to get bit. As far as the swim bait bite, it is better with wind, and the grub bite as well is better with wind than on a calm day. If you don't have any wind, it's really not worth throwing that swim bait that much. You're not going to get as many bites. Go up into the Kimberling City area, same bites are working up there as well. Kimberling is fairly clear, it's got a good stain to it. Definitely catch them on a Kitech 2.8, same colors, Sexy Shad, Sight Flash, those are my two best colors. On a 1/4 ounce head, fish are either suspended or they're on the bottom. Same deal with the Bass Pro XPS grub, the 4-inch grub, in either milky salt and pepper or smoke with either red flake or copper flake or purple flake. Same sort of deal, 1/4 ounce head, fishing for those suspended fish that are down about 10 foot down. Let that thing sink for about 5 seconds and reel it in fairly slow, or catching them on the bottom, scrubbing it on the bottom fairly slow. Again, wind helps that bite. If you don't have any wind, switch up to either a jewel net head, a jewel squirrel head with either a beaver or a Speed Craw on it, or a Bass Pro tender tube. All those on a 1/4 ounce size, working them out there from about 8 to about 15. As the sun comes up, back out a little bit further and go as deep as 20. Have been catching a few on the Jewel Pro Spider Jig, especially around some of the boat docks on sunnier days, so pitch around the shade in the boat docks. And really the crankbait bite should be better than it is. We caught a few when I was out the other day on a crankbait, but really not the size, not the quality we're looking for. I think the crankbait bite will be better by this weekend once the water stabilizes a little bit and the fish get moved up a little bit more. But look for them to be on a rock crawler, on a curve 55, and on a wiggle wart, anywhere from about 7 to 10 feet deep on those steeper rocky banks, and those rocky banks mixed with gravel. I really think if we get a little bit of wind this weekend, guys will be catching them on that, guys will be catching them on the Kitech as well. Go up into the James, and like I said, the James from about 0.12 up has a lot of debris. The debris is working its way down, and it is breaking up the further down it gets. You will see floaters all the way down to Ants Creek, so be careful if you're going up that way. Again, the Kitech bite, when you've got the clearer water, has been really good. Sight Flash, Sexy Shad have been the two best colors. Or a Bass Pro Shops XPS grub, 4-inch milky salt and pepper, or any of the smoke colors are working really well. Both on a 1/4 ounce head. Targeting suspending fish, let it sink about 5 seconds, reel it in slow, targeting the fish on the bottom. Let that thing sink to the bottom and then just maintain bottom contact. Reel fast enough that it's moving, but not fast enough that you're lifting it up off the bottom, so you'll have to reel and pause and reel and pause. Again, gravel mixed with rock has really been key. More points than anything else with this much current in the lake. It really seems like the fish are starting to show up on the points. Crankbait bite should be good up there. Wiggle wart, rock crawler, curve 55 on those channel swing banks, on those mixed rock and gravel channel swings. You really should start to see some fish this weekend once everything stabilizes on a crankbait. Really, those are the best two bites up the James. I'm sure you can catch them on a jig around some of the debris, on some of the bluff pockets, and some of the bluff ends. A lot of these transition areas, you should be able to catch them on a Jewel Pro Spider Jig up there as well. I would use something a little bit darker with the color of the water. Instead of using the Okeechobee blue, I'd probably go with either a Missouri Craw or a black and blue, especially if the water's got a lot of color to it, and match that up with a trailer that has some action in it, like a Zoom Speed Craw. That'd be my key up there. Go up in the White River. Like I said, I had a buddy fish the White River. He said there is a lot of debris and a lot more color up there around Shell Knob. He didn't go any further than that. I haven't been any further than that. I can't tell you what it's like if you get above Shell Knob, but I can tell you around the Shell Knob area, he said the color is good until you get to the Kings, and then it gets to be pretty muddy in the mouth of the Kings, and the further up the Kings you go. A lot of debris floating in the Kings, a lot of debris floating in the White River as well, so be careful if you're heading that direction. Did catch him on a Kitech up there. He was catching them on the 2.8 Sexy Shad Sight Flash on a 1/4 ounce head. Catch him on the Bass Pro XPS grub up there as well. Smoke with any of the flakes in it, purple, red, copper, any of those. Milky salt and pepper is always a strong color. Should be able to catch him on that. Ned rig is working up there too. He said he caught several fish on a Ned rig on those gravel rock mix points. on the main lake and in Big Creek and some of the bigger creek arms. He did say there was some debris in Big Creek, so be careful if you're going up in there. But the water was fairly clear. Looking for those areas where you've got rock and gravel mixed, more of the points than in the pockets. So key on the points, as long as they're running current, which they're running quite a bit of current right now, trying to get the lake back down the normal pool. As long as they're running current, as long as we've got current coming in, you're going to want to work those points over versus working the pockets over. Crankbait bite, again, should be working. The water temperature is perfect for it. Fish are going to be moving up, so it'll be a real good time if we get a windy, cloudy day, or even just a windy day on Saturday. If you're up there, I would be throwing a crankbait a little bit, try to cover water a little bit faster than you can with a swim bait, than you can with a grub. Either the Curve 55, the rock crawler, or the wigglewort. All three of those should be key baits, and I'd target anywhere from about 7 to about 12 foot deep on those rocky transition areas where it changes from rock over to smaller rock to gravel. Really should be key. I'm thinking it's probably going to take about 15-16 pounds to win that web tournament this weekend. Guys, it is the end of February. We're going into March. Business is starting to pick up. Weather's turning around. We've got a good stretch of warm weather going these next 2 to 3 weeks. Don't see any snow or anything stupid in the forecast, which is awesome. Water temperature's warming up. The water's back up where we want it to be. Fish are starting to bite. I really think in the next couple of weeks we are really going to start to see a lot of fish being caught. I think this weekend things are setting up for it to be a really good tournament for the guys fishing the Web Outdoors Pro. So I would be watching those results, and I bet they're going to catch them really good up there this weekend. But guys, if you're coming down, maybe you've got spring break plans, you're coming to Branson, you've been holding off figuring out what you're going to do, wanting to see what the weather's going to do, if the fishing's going to get better. Guys, if you're wanting to book for spring break, get a hold of me, because we are filling up in March. So if you've got plans, you're coming to Branson, you want to go fishing, you want to go have fun, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. You can either book online or shoot me an email. We'll figure out the best dates and times to go out. But guys, thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for subscribing to the videos. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.